The People's Platform.
Good evening and welcome to the People's Platform. My guest tonight is the President of Rotary International, Gordon Mcinally. Good evening and welcome to you, Mr. Mcinally.
Good evening. It's nice to be with you.
Absolutely. It's your first time in Sri Lanka. So welcome to Sri Lanka, first of all, and welcome to the Newsfirst studios.
Well, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and a privilege to be here.
Mr. Mcinally, Rotary is a global network of about 1.4 million individuals who are connected across the world by a common passion to co-create a more equitable world. You've already met with several youth organizations in Sri Lanka of Interact and Rotaract. Speak to us about the dynamism of the youth and the role of the youth in creating societal transformation.
Well, yes, I had a wonderful session with the young interactors and rotaractors yesterday afternoon. And, you know, I was so impressed by the energy and the dynamism that they showed and the passion that they showed for what in Rotary we are trying to do, and that is to do good in the world and to help lift people up. They were a wonderful group of individuals, and they have such an important role to play in society, not just here in Sri Lanka, but all around the world. Our youth, after all, are our leaders of tomorrow. And I was particularly pleased when I saw this group of individuals being described as future leaders. They weren't just described as interactors, which is our 16 to 18-year-old age group, or rotaractors, which is our 18 and upwards group, but they were described as our future leaders, but not just Rotary's future leaders. I believe we had future leaders of Sri Lanka in that group of people that we met yesterday.
All right. Create hope in the world is the annual theme that you, as President of Rotary International, have conceptualized. Speak to us about what its genesis was.
Sure. Well, one of the great privileges of being president is you're allowed to conceptualize, to use your words, a theme, a strapline that you will use as a focus during the year. I'd always felt that hope is the most important building block of society. If we lose hope, then we've lost everything. And so to create hope in the world is a call to action to the 1.4 million members of Rotary. I have seen hope created in many different places over the 40 years I've been involved with Rotary, perhaps most impactfully in Thailand following the tsunami of 2004, which I know had a huge impact on Sri Lanka as well. But in Thailand we were working to rebuild some coastal villages. I went there to inaugurate one of the villages and met a lady who had lost everything in the tsunami. She had lost her home, she had lost her livelihood, she had lost her husband, and she had lost her 2 children. And she told me that she had lost hope, but thanks to Rotary, she had had hope restored, and that she now had hope to build her life again. And that was something that stuck with me for many years. And so when I was elected to be president, I wanted to try and convey this hope, and hence create hope in the world.
Absolutely. Mr. Mcinally, given Sri Lanka's current socio-economic realities, ensuring a robust health care system is of pivotal importance. Rotary International signed an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, with the Ministry of Health with regard to a healthcare project. Speak to us about this.
Well, absolutely. And in fact, it was Rotary in Sri Lanka who signed that Memorandum of Understanding yesterday, in conjunction with another partner, the Dilma Foundation, who are one of the funding partners of this project, which will provide cervical cancer screening for the women of Sri Lanka. I was shocked to hear that there are between 700 and 800 women die from cervical cancer every year. And it's recognised that cervical cancer is curable if it's detected in an early stage. And so what this initiative will be doing is we'll be helping provide test kits so that more early testing and therefore more early detection can be done for cervical cancer. And hopefully, over a period of time, we will see that 700 to 800 figure be reduced dramatically.
Speak to us about some of the initiatives undertaken by Rotary International in terms of supporting education, growing local economies, environmental protection.
Well, we're active in all these fields, and indeed within Sri Lanka, the local members of Rotary, and there are almost 17,000 of them if we include all the different categories, are very involved in that already. But globally, we have a focus on healthcare. We have been working to eradicate polio for almost 30 years now, as a partner in an alliance that is vaccinating the children of the world. 30 years ago, there was 1,000 cases of polio every single day diagnosed. Last year, in the entire calendar year, there was only 12 cases anywhere in the world. Those 12 cases were in a very closely defined part of the Afghan-Pakistan border. We're very confident that 2024 may well be the year that we see the last case of wild polio infection. And that'll be a wonderful, wonderful testament to the work that Rotary and its partners have done over the years of that campaign. But we're involved in many other healthcare initiatives. We are involved in water and sanitation all around the world. We're putting wells into villages in Africa. We're providing clean water and sanitation for the people of Haiti and Central America. We work in all these sort of areas. And also the environment, which is such an important part of the society at the moment. We all recognise the importance of climate change and the threat of climate change. And so Rotary is now working in the environment space as well.
Increasingly, peace building and promoting peace has become of crucial importance, not just in Sri Lanka, but across the world. We see warring communities. How important is it to engage proactively in promoting peace, peace building, transitional justice for communities, and what's the role that Rotarians across the world can play?
So that is very important. I think we all recognise that this is a world that is not at peace at present and should be a more peaceful place. Rotary's been involved in peace building for many years. We were instrumental in the foundation of the United Nations and still have a seat in the United Nations, one of the only non-governmental organisations to do so. We talk about building positive peace. I'm a great believer that peace needs to be built from the ground level up. If we give people clean water and sanitation, if we help educate people, if we help improve their economic situation, then we can make sure that there is less chance of conflict developing, because it's the inequity of situations and societies that very often leads to conflict. And so we're working very hard to build positive peace by doing all the things I've just described. And hopefully we can make the world a more peaceful place and bring people together. Because I think if you bring people together, we realise we are all the same and we all want the same thing, and that is to make the world a better place for the generations who will follow us.
The citizens are stakeholders in a country's economy. However, a lot of people blame governments for maladministration or for a lack of economic growth and development. How important is it for citizens themselves to play a proactive role in a country's growth?
I think it's very important. I think the important thing to remember about Rotary is that we are non-political. We don't align ourselves with any sides in terms of governments of countries. We align ourselves with the people in the countries that we are trying to help and the aid that we try to provide. But I think it's incumbent on everybody to help build their society, whether that be here in Sri Lanka or in other parts of the world.
All right, fantastic. We are in conversation with the president of Rotary International, Gordon Mcinally. We're going for a short commercial break. We'll be right back.
The People's Platform.
Welcome back to the show. We are in conversation with the president of Rotary International, Gordon Mcinally. Mr. Mcinally, before the break, we were talking about the importance of promoting peace across the world. We also need to focus on peace within oneself, ensuring and enabling one's own mental health. The mental health crisis across the world is unprecedented.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed.
What is the role of Rotary International in promoting mental health and well-being? What are the initiatives that have been launched, and how has this trickled down to at country level?
Well, interestingly enough, that is something that we are focusing on particularly during this next period, because we recognise that mental health is in many ways the next pandemic. The COVID pandemic took a great toll on society. Many people lost their nearest and dearest, they lost their connections, and as we exit the pandemic, we find that the mental well-being of the world is challenged. And Rotary also recognises, as everybody should, that mental health has been a terribly stigmatised issue. People do not talk freely about their mental health. They talk very freely about their physical health. Sometimes I think almost too freely about their physical health, but mental health is not spoken about. And we need to break down that taboo, that stigma. And that's one of the platforms that we are trying to stress this particular period, is that we begin to be more open about our own mental health and our own mental well-being. And in addition to that, we are anxious to help support communities to address the issues of poor mental well-being, and that's happening in a great many different ways all around the world. The most important thing to recognise is that in each area, be it country or even community, the challenges are different. The mental health challenges in Sri Lanka are different to the mental health challenges in my home country of Scotland, are different to the mental health challenges of the USA, and so on. And so the first thing that everybody has to do is identify where the challenges exist and then look to address them. And we're seeing wonderful initiatives springing up. I was hearing only last week of an initiative in India where a Rotary district is creating an app called iSpace, which will allow young people to interact with a professional counsellor in a safe, silent manner to begin with, right. Using the sort of social media skills that young people have. And only when they're ready to take it to the next level, or if there's a need to take it to the next level and meet with somebody face to face, will that happen. And I believe that's going to help that young community, the young people in that community, to address the issue, and many, many other aspects around the world.
What is the role that Rotary can play as a key negotiator in the education paradigm? Because at the center of it all is education. Educated societies will be more empowered. So what is the role that Rotary can play in this discourse?
Well, absolutely. And you have got it absolutely right when you say that education is the key to our society's future. And so Rotary is working very hard in underprivileged areas to assist education, to support education. We support schools by providing libraries. We support schools by providing clean water and toilet facilities, especially for girls, because we recognise that it's so important that we educate the women. And in many parts of the world that doesn't happen. And so empowering girls and women and helping release the potential within them is one of the important things that we are working on at the moment, making sure that they get access to education and get the chance to build their own future by being educated.
It's also important, Mr. Mcinally, for community development projects to be sustainable, as it is important for communities to realize that these are not just handouts and this is not just charity or welfare. How does Rotary go about creating an attitudinal shift in the communities they help or assist in enabling their own forms of sustainability?
Well, it's interesting you should mention the word sustainability, because that is the key to everything that we are doing at present. All our grant-funded projects must be sustainable. You're absolutely right when you say that it's not about handouts, it's about helping people grow. And it's so important that we allow people to become self-sustainable, self-reliant, because that gives them self-respect. And so everything that we do at present is about sustainability, and all of our projects don't just finish when Rotary is completed. They are projects that can carry on and will last into the future. And we work with communities to make certain that that happens, because we are not the cavalry coming over the hill to solve the problems of the world. We are coming to help people solve their own problems and then take ownership of their own challenges and make sure that they are working together to take things forward in the future.
Perfect. When we talk about social issues which need unique solutions, it has to come with a multidisciplinary perspective. We have a lot of creative youth, educated youth, innovative youth, and others. So how does Rotary go about ensuring that problems are tackled in innovative, multidisciplinary ways?
Well, we are very fortunate in that within our membership we have so many different skills. We have skill sets across all types of occupations and professions, and so we have that to bring to the table. And we're very fortunate that all of our volunteers are very talented people. And that gives me the opportunity perhaps to say thank you to the members of Rotary right here in Sri Lanka for all that they do, because I'm conscious that the work of Rotary is done on the ground in the countries and not by my office and my staff, which is based back in Chicago in the USA. And so we have a wonderful range of talents and skills, and that's why we can make such a difference as we work in the different communities that we work in.
And finally, the mission of Rotary is to provide service to others, promote integrity and advance world understanding, goodwill and peace through the fellowship of business, professional and community leaders. In conclusion, do you think this is attainable?
I believe it is. I believe it is over time. And, you know, Rotary is changing all the time, is becoming more relevant. We are people of action. We do things. And that is why we need business people, professional people, and community leaders. And everybody who is interested in leading within their community can be part of Rotary and can become a person of action and help us make a difference in the world.
All right. Fantastic. Mr. Gordon Mcinally, Rotary International President, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here in Sri Lanka.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you for watching us. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.